Hello and welcome to the Addicts Anonymous podcast. I'm your host, Jamar. Today is episode 107, and we're going to be interviewing Frank L. How are you doing this morning, Frank?
Doing great, Jim. Thank you.
Glad to have you on. So you're outside in nature this morning.
Yes, sir. Nice, quiet little, well, hopefully it's quiet little county park here. So
That's great.
enjoy
That's
nature.
great. It looks nice and peaceful from where I'm looking. So let's dive in here and get started. Tell me about your childhood. Tell me about growing up.
Growing up, my mom and dad were together. I think about six or seven, I started playing soccer, and I played soccer all the way up through high school. We played year round here in Baltimore. So we played winter ball, summer ball, fall ball, spring ball, everything. Like I said, I played all the way up through high school. I think around 12 or 14, my parents separated. So my dad moved out. So I was with mom, single parent, lower to middle income family, stayed with soccer my whole life. So I was in sports my whole life. But, with dad not there, eventually after in my teenage years, I had to find something else and started to run wild.
How did you run wild? What kind of stuff were you doing?
Hanging with instead of the sports people, hanging with other people, and that's probably when alcohol and pot in, in high school. And it really wasn't too much, but I knew it was there. And I played, like I said, I played soccer till my senior year. Excuse me. And then after my senior year, I had, what do you do then? So I go to community college, and that was such a bust because all I did was smoke pot every day, sold pot. Probably went through like 2 or 3 semesters, and then I failed out of college. Then I had a
real quick, going back a little bit. What was it like for you when your parents divorced? What did you go through?
It was tough. I mean, because you grow up with both parents there, and now it's like, you're just with your mom. I'd see dad on the weekends. We'd go to like fishing trips, or I'd spend a night or two up his house. But it was definitely hard because you're so used to both parents being there, and without my dad there, without that authority figure, that's probably, one of the things that made me go on the other side.
When you say the other side, what do you mean?
As in staying, instead of sticking with sports, doing school, partying, when I was like 16, I think I got my first car. So, I had that freedom of, on the weekends, I just left and go and smoke pot or drink all weekend long. When I was growing up, drinking each year was 18, so we could get somebody to buy us beer anytime. So that's probably when my addiction probably first started, and it just progressed a lot more after that. But when I was young, it was just mainly smoking pot and drinking.
Were you using it as an escape to get away from any type of...
I would say I was, because, like I said before, you're growing up with both parents. Now dad's not here. Excuse me. So now it's like an escape, maybe to get attention, doing whatever I could. I mean, I think I remember I graduated in 81, but I remember in 82, I got my first DWI. So I was probably like 18 or 19, and I don't think that's normal.
No, I mean, then again, who's to say what's normal? But that's definitely not the norm of society. So what happened how'd you get pulled over?
How did if I remember then, probably me and my buddies were out drinking. And back in that day, I mean, it isn't strict like it was now. We're talking 82, and you know, pulled over, breathalyzer, failed all that stuff, failed a sobriety. Um, Pretty much got a slap on the wrist, and I was like, well, this ain't bad. I mean, I know I can drink and drive, and if I get caught, nothing really bad will happen. So that was my first one.
So what did you do once you graduated high school? You're living at home?
I lived at home and started working, and then progressed into weekends. It was probably like, got into me and my buddy, we were like, we were buying cocaine and selling it. And that went on for years, still worked. I
Were
didn't worry
you
about
were you
school.
using cocaine?
Oh yeah. I was probably my best customer.
What time? I'm not time. When did that start? Wait,
That probably started mid 80s, mid 80s, late
how old were
80s.
you?
I was probably 20, late mid 20s by then, middle 20s. And that went on for years. And, just partying, going out to the clubs. That was, you just worked for the weekend. I didn't worry about anything. I'm living at home. I paid a little bit of rent here and there. Didn't have to worry about cleaning the house, doing anything around the house, because mom was there. Probably a big enabler. I look back at it now, but she did the best she could, and I just started going off to the races.
So were you using a lot with your friends?
Yeah, yeah. And weekends, then I'm sure it progressed into during the weeknights, and that went for a while. And didn't have to worry about work because I didn't get drug tested on the jobs I was working at. And that was mainly I guess the addiction started going further and further, that I can worry about just using and not worrying about real life.
But you were working full time. You did have a job while doing all this.
Had a job. I was there at a job, and that job went to other jobs, and of course everybody's using. um Friday payday comes around and they all come see me because I had the weed and I had the coke. So I was like, selling to everybody at work. Friday night I'd go out, probably wouldn't come home till Sunday because we were out using all weekend, partying over my buddy's house, partying here, partying there. And then just Groundhog Day over and over, start all over again on Monday.
How were you as far as mentally?
I thought I was fine. I mean, I didn't know addiction was a disease back then. I thought it was just shit. This is how you live your life. You work 5 days and then you party from Friday to Monday morning.
Yeah, the term I've heard before is the weekend warrior.
Yeah, that was it until it started on Thursday, and then you start missing work on Friday, or calling in on Monday because you're still messed up from the weekend. But I functioned, I guess, as long as I could until years later, and then I had to get a regular job, and that was it was actually a union job where they started. That was my first experience, I guess, getting drug tested.
Were you able to pass the drug test?
I passed the first, and pre-employment and all. Yeah, I was doing great, because I knew it was coming up. But they would do randoms, and it was It was a big mess. You never know when they would come in. I mean, the union could only cover you so much, but if they come in for a random drug test, I remember one day um, we were partying probably the day before, and then they came in for random, and a gentleman, he would have somebody else's sample, and he'd go up to the microwave, put it in, and it was like 110 degrees, and they were like, nah, we need another sample, and the next one was like 80. So it was like they knew what was going on. And another, you get a slap on the wrist. You had to go, with the
What do you,
union, you
what
had
do
to
you
go
mean
through
they
a
knew it was
program.
going? What do you
they,
mean?
they knew people were using. They knew they were using, but I mean, they needed, I guess the bottom line in a company, they needed that production and all. So as long as you weren't trashed on the job and doing your job, it was fine. But nobody was really walking around like a zombie back then, and getting hurt or getting other people hurt. They were just using, smoking pot, or doing coke once in a while. But it eventually caught up to the people that were using, caught up to me.
So what was your social life like during all this?
The whole time, single, going out on the weekends, partying, meeting girls, having weekend flings. Probably had girlfriends, but that didn't last long because I was more worried about using than relationships.
So what was your daily intake like? Like how much did you use in the beginning? How much were you using?
In the beginning, probably just smoking, a joint. Wake up, smoke a joint in the morning. Smoke at lunchtime. Um, After work, not much. Doing coke on the weekends, and like I said, it progressed until like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that was it until I guess probably like 35 or 40. I did that for years until I got introduced to heroin.
So what you said you were 35?
About 35, yeah, I was late, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that stuff. That's, I would think of junkies shooting needles in their arms and all, but I'm an addict, so I'll try anything. And I remember this day when the guy would run out at lunchtime, because I'm like in East Baltimore, and you could go in Baltimore City and cop on any corner. And he would run out at lunchtime, bring it back, and he brought some back, and I said, I'll try it. And me and my friend tried it. My friend, to this day, I remember he threw his guts up. And to me, I just had that euphoric feeling. I was like, wow, this is something different. This isn't like Coke. This isn't like pot and all. And I think that's when my cravings for heroin started. And, I would only do it on the weekends or once in a while. But of course, as you know, that stuff progressed to every day.
How did you use it your first time?
Snorted it.
Snorted it.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that heroin feels like a warm blanket.
Yeah, you just get that warm feeling. You get a rush. To me, it was like I had a rush more than cocaine. I mean, I had so much energy. Uh, if I started to drag down, I just do a little bit of more and get that energy again. And I could do 12-hour shift in like 6 hours doing all my work, and it was like, oh, this is great, man. I love this feeling. But
So
it
heroin
just,
gave you energy?
yeah, to me, it just had me going. I mean, and because I was only doing a little bit at a time. But then as it progressed and I was doing more and more, then the nodding came on. Then the drop where you're using it. I had energy, and then all of a sudden, if I didn't have any, I'd be like, you know, just sitting there nodding or falling asleep. And it's like 4 in the afternoon, And, it's not normal, but I didn't know. I was my full blown addiction when I was like using it. And then if you didn't have it in the morning, that was the worst feeling in the world.
When you were dope sick.
Yes, sir. Yep. And you find ways and means to get it. And I was a smart addict. I was thinking, so I figured out a way somehow to get it. And that's when life got really bad.
So how did life get really bad?
I had savings bonds for my son. I ended up cashing them in.
Wait, hold on. You had a family?
Yeah, still do.
Go
Yep.
back to when you had your, because I was just
I
about
didn't,
to ask you, did you have any
yeah,
romantic relationships?
sure.
Go back.
I didn't get married till I was like 41. And my wife, my son was born in '04. We went through in vitro. And even with my son being born and with family and a new wife, I mean, I thought I had it all, but my disease told me, well, you can have that, but I also want you too. So that's when my disease was like, I was covering it, but I couldn't cover it too much. So, I was a functioning addict. I'd work, I'd do what I had to do, but I'd still use. And I was probably using every day, every other day until the end. And that's when you say shit hit the fan.
When did your wife know you were doing this?
At first, I don't know if she knew or not, but I know probably 5, 10 years into it, she knew something was up. I mean, I'm standing there talking and I'm doing the nodding and money's missing. I'm saying I'm working overtime and it's not showing up on the paycheck. And, I was a bullshitter. I said what I said to do to get a drug. And even with the family, it's I look at it now, it's sad, but I mean, the past is the past. I can't do anything about it now. I can just worry about the future. But not spending time with my son growing up, um, not spending family time, vacation time, it just progressed bad, real bad.
So when did it get real bad?
I would say like we last November we were married 20 years. So 10 years into it, she knew what I was doing. And I tried treatment. I tried like outpatient treatment or, go to the doctor, get the Suboxone strips, use them for a while. I do good for a month or so. And then my addiction would say, oh, well, you can do a little bit of heroin today. You're fine. Look, you got this. So it would go from using Suboxone and going and buying heroin. And then it progressed into I'd get my script, selling my script just so I could have money for the heroin, selling the Suboxone, coming up dirty on urine analysis at my treatment. And I probably quit 20 times. I remember going cold turkey at the house one time, and my wife was there, and she babied me. Like I don't know how to describe it, but I mean, she tried to help me get through it. She wanted me to get better, but I'd go through it. I'd withdraw. Week or two later, I'd be doing good, and then back to my own ways. And that was, working with people, and I'd be okay. And then, oh, can you drop me off at home? And they, of course, would live in Baltimore, and I drop them off, and my stinking thinking would kick in, people, places, and things. And I go
So
back
the
to day one
Suboxone
again.
didn't work for you? The Suboxone didn't work?
It helped, but I guess I wasn't ready for it, Jim. I guess they say you got to hit a bottom, rock bottom, or any kind of bottom before you see the light. And I think I did that more for other people than myself, because I was an addict. I wanted to use whatever I could do to pacify them and show them, oh, I'm trying to do good. I'm trying to do this, you know, but my disease would still come back to me and say, look, you know, you don't need that. You know, you can go out there and sniff a pill of dope to, you know, today you'll be fine. And it didn't work.
So what happened as far as the shit hitting the fan?
I was laid off due to COVID. So here where we are, I guess everywhere, I mean, I'm getting paid to stay home. I'm getting $600 extra a week from the federal government. So I'm like, all this money's rolling in. I got a part-time job at my buddy's liquor store. Great place to work. People were using there. And I worked good until unemployment ran out, and I would just work at the liquor store. Actually, shit, I had an app on my phone, Uber Drugs. All I'd do was text the guy, and he would bring the stuff to the liquor store, and I'd be high 6 days a week working, go home. And then that's when, you know, my wife knew I was using, and it got to the point where she actually bought home drug tests to say, look, you're 30, look. And I couldn't lie about that. I look straight in her eyes and tell her, no, I'm not using. And all the stuff she would know. She would tell, you know, she was with me for, that was probably 19 years then. She could tell by my actions, my facial expressions, the way I would talk. And she knew what was up. So I ran with that for a little while. I remember I'd work at the liquor store, and like 7:30, I'd stop using. I'd start drinking bottles of water. I drank like 5, 6, 7 of them. So if I got home, I know if she would drug test me, I would maybe pass. And then that's back to pacifying her. Say, look, I'm not using. Here I am using all day long until I get home. I pass the drug test and then go up and use the rest of the night. So that went on till, I would say, last year. I would say August 24th or 25th. I remember called up my dealer, and I bought some heroin. And I remember him saying, watch it, man, this stuff is strong. And I'm like, an addict, and me saying, man, I've been doing this stuff for like 15, 20 years. I got it. Well, once I started doing that, it just hit me. And I know I've had fentanyl before. This had to be car fentanyl, because I was at the liquor store working. He sent me home, and then got home, and I don't remember, probably like 4 or 5 days. I mean, I was probably there, but my mind wasn't. The car fentanyl just messed me up. I wasn't thinking. I didn't know what was going on. August 28th, honestly, I would sneak out in the morning before everybody woke up, and I'd run to Baltimore, buy my dope, and come home, and everybody's still sleeping. So I got this. So I remember riding to West Baltimore to buy dope, excuse me, and I already had it on me. That's the weird stuff. I already had stuff at home. So I don't remember driving over there. I don't remember driving back. My wife called me that Saturday, August 28th. Where are you? I said, I made excuse like I'm going to get coffee. Well, there's a damn 7-Eleven right across the street from where we live. What are you doing? A half an hour away. She pulled up at the 7-Eleven where I was. All the doors are open on my Jeep. The latch, the hood is open, the rear. She said, what the F are you doing? She said, I don't remember it. She said, that I told her I'm looking for my keys. She said, get the F in the car. She took me home Saturday, and that was it. She started calling treatment centers. Well, one called back, and Jim, I don't even remember doing intake on the phone with this treatment center, but they set me up for that night to fly to Florida. Well, me as a, I'm still an addict. I'm functioning. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. My idea was, well, I need to take some shit down there with me. So I actually had a cigarette pack. I had like 4 pills of dope in it, and I put it in my back where my belt is. I walked through security. He patted me down, went through there. He said, "What's this?" I said, "Oh, it's my cigarettes." He just put them on the counter and walked by. I mean, who keeps their cigarettes in their back belt loop, in their behind their pants? So I remember the cigarettes were sitting on the counter there. I had my phone on top of them, and my wife was going over there to grab them. And I was like, shit, I heard it, went over there, grabbed it, put my shoes on. We went and sat and wait for the flight. And I'm out of it. I'm nodding. I can't keep my head up. I can't do this, that. Um, and it's funny, and I think of it now, but you're like, well, tell them years ago you had a stroke, and when you get in the air, the elevation makes you nauseous or something. I don't know what it was, but I got on the plane, and then I nodded out. I guess 5 minutes later, I wake up. Here's TSA. Here's paramedics. Here's the flight crew. And they escorted me off the plane. The pilot kicked me off the plane. That was August 28th. So now I'm at BWI airport. My wife thinks I'm on my way to Florida. So I got to call her and kick off the plane. She had to come back and get me. I went home in the bed. She told me stories now. She actually had my son sleep outside the door so I wouldn't sneak out that night. Morning to go anywhere. Like the next morning, I was nice. I went to the port. She took me there. Did the same thing. Had the pills of dope in my back. Got through TSA. Went to Florida. I made it down there. And when they picked me up, I was so out of it. I remember he picked me up and he seen I couldn't walk. He seen something was up. So I remember getting in a wheelchair. They took me to my treatment center. And of course, they searched everything, my bags and all. So they found my dope in here. My wife packed my bag with my clothes, and she didn't know I had weed and hidden in one of the compartments. So they found like 2 or 3 different baggies of weed, a pipe, and all that stuff. And that was Sunday, August 29th. Went through my treatment. It was, like I said, on a Sunday. And I remember, Jim, to this day, Wednesday, I don't know what meds they had me on, what just the atmosphere, what it was, but one morning, I remember I woke up, it was like 8 in the morning. We didn't have class till like 9 or 9:30. And I'm out there shooting basketball hoops. I felt so good. I felt like crap because, where I was and all, but something in my body kicked and was like, I didn't feel that withdrawal, that dope sickness. And that helped a lot. But I'm out there shooting basketball hoops.
Did you go cold turkey, or do they give you some type
No,
of?
they gave me a bunch of meds. I don't know what they were, but whatever they gave me, it worked because I was there Sunday, and like I said, by Wednesday, I'm out there shooting basketball hoops 7 in the morning. I'm eating 3 meals a day. I mean, I've been dope sick plenty of times, and you don't want to eat, you don't want to drink, you don't want to do anything but just lay and act like a baby in the bed. But something happened, and to this day, I credit it as a higher power. Something, made me see the light and plant that seed that I don't have to live like that, man. I don't have to worry about using every day. You know, messing up my life at home. Jails, institutions, had both of them. I don't want to die. And that was the start of my treatment, August 29th. Last year.
How was treatment?
It was freaking awesome. I mean, I went to a place in Florida, and it was for some reason it's another higher power. I mean, I love music. I listen to music my whole life, rock and roll and all. This place was based on music. Um, it was in Lake Worth, Fort Lauderdale, and first, I was in detox probably for like 15 days. But like I said, after that third day, I was feeling great. I mean, doing all my classes, you got exempt if you're in detox. You didn't have to go to classes all the time. You didn't have to go to meetings and all, but I made sure I was there. And the community we had, I mean, if you're having a bad day, you're in detox, I mean, everybody would pick you up. Everybody, hey, how you doing? And actually mean it. And that's when, I met a group of people that were in Florida that we still keep together. We still keep in touch to this day. We have a group chat. We have one person, she sends a text every morning, like 5 in the morning, just for today. And I mean, that gets me going, and then we chat all day. We have a Zoom meeting on Sunday at 8 from everybody from the recovery center. And it definitely, that had a big step into changing my life around. And that was my first place I went through outpatient. I always did inpatient, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. I'm fine. And go back to using. I think, it was just had to change that people, places, and things. And I went to Florida, and something kicked while I was down there.
And you're still not sure what just happened, just something that came along and
Something came along. I remember, Jim, I was in detox, then you went to housing, then the next step was like PHP, where you get a little leeway. You get to go shopping, they didn't have your meals. You had to go to the store, buy your own meals. We had like 4 guys in each little room. Excuse me. It was like an old 1950s mom and pop hotel. Had the little kiddie pool in the middle. It's a single level old hotel that they refurbished for everybody. We have 4 people it was probably like 4 or 5 rooms together, and we go shopping. And I remember looking in that mirror, and I was like, what the F am I doing here? I mean, people go to Florida on vacation. Here I'm 58 years old in Florida going through drug treatment. Something isn't right with this. So I just, from that first day on, it was like looking in that mirror and realizing that's got to be a better way.
And there is a better way than what we were used to and accustomed to doing. Absolutely.
Right.
I think all of us addicts learn that. All of us addicts in recovery, I should say. Some of us are yet to learn it.
Right. I mean, it may take years. It may take, a month, may take a rock bottom, whatever it takes. But, something, I mean, it has to be in here if you want it. And once you want it and you realized how much BS you did in the past, how many people you hurt, how many people, you lied, cheated, stole from. I mean, it's, I think about it now, and it keeps me going, because I will learn that, the past is the past. I can't do anything about it. All I can do is worry about today, and then show today that I don't want to go back to that living. It's not worth it. Luckily, that higher power still kept me alive.
So what are you doing nowadays to stay sober?
I'm doing, I have meetings. I probably do like 4 or 5 a week in person here. I do my Zoom on Sunday night. I keep in touch with all my people that were in Florida. We have a group chat, like I said, and we're on it all day long. I have big base here of everybody in the meetings. I have a lot of phone numbers, and we check up on everybody every day. I do not hang around people that are using. Do not go around places that people, places, and things. I do what I have to do. I concentrate on my family, concentrate on work. I got an old job back, and I'm doing great there. Go to the ball games. I go to the Oriole games on. I got a Sunday season ticket plan, so it's crazy. First opening day this year, where I didn't have to worry about sneaking out early, buying dope, and then going to the ball game. I went to the ball game and had a great time. I mean, it was this whole year has been like, man, I can go to the ball game and have a great time without using drugs. This is amazing.
That's great to hear. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
So
And
let me
it's
ask.
pretty crazy. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go first.
Oh, I no, it's pretty crazy that we're doing an interview today, and on my app it popped up. I have 9 months today.
Oh, congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you.
That is a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, one day at a time, but 9 months in a row, I'm not using. Wow, I would have never thought. They always say, I hear once you're an addict, I mean, what choices do you have? I mean, you're probably going to die an addict, but it doesn't have to be like that, man. I mean, it took me plenty years of street research to figure out, man, it's a whole lot better.
Yeah. So my last question to you is, do you have any advice for people that are watching and listening?
I would say, do not give up. I mean, I heard in a meeting one day, a gentleman had 18 years clean. He said, is that $6 pill of dope worth your life? And that hit. It was like, serious, $6? And I've been to plenty of funerals of friends of mine. I was still on addiction. That didn't hit me. And what hit me was something, a higher power kicked in my heart, said, you don't have to live like this. You don't have to put that addiction before your family, your work, just anything. It's just don't give up. I mean, for me, I had to seek treatment. I mean, but people, places, and things, man, that was my big downfall. And I had to change all that. I mean, it's so worth it to live a so-called normal life, without using any substance. Um, it's so much better. I mean, it's the rewards come. I mean, it's some days, I mean, it's not going to be all unicorns and rainbows, but guess what? Normal people deal with that every day. I'm an addict, and I know I can't use anymore because my life can go to shit in like a day, half a day, an hour. And from what I did to where I am now, I'm not giving that up.
No, definitely not worth giving that up.
But
So
don't give up. I mean, if you're still using, maintenance, whatever you have to do, cold turkey, just think, man, that's your life, man, and how many lives you'll affect. And it's so much better without drugs.
So do you have anything else you want to add before we go?
No, just have a great Memorial Day weekend. I mean, just everybody, whatever you got to do. I mean, go to meetings, go Zoom meetings. It's that disease wants one thing, that addiction wants one thing, and that's our life. Don't give it to them.
And I appreciate you coming on the show today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. So for everybody watching and listening, if you like what you heard and saw, go below, give us a like. Also subscribe to see when we're uploading new videos. You can check us out on Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. We have a Facebook page and a group. I suggest you go check out there. There's a lot of resources and information. And as far as resources and information go, we also have addicts-anonymous.com. We've got a ton of stuff as far as literature and all types of stuff. So that's all I have for today. And until next time.